What's going on, everyone? It's Mr. West. I hope you're all well. So welcome back to another ultimate video test for the OnePlus 7 Pro. And this time is checking out the GCAM mod to see if that improves the video against the stock camera software. Now, the OnePlus 7 Pro is no slouch when it comes to video to start with, but there's always room for improvement, and I was curious to see what improvements the GCAM mod makes to video. Now, a few things to run through very quickly. This particular GCAM mod that I'm using now is the latest one that's available from XDA developers. I've left a link in the description if you want to go and check it out yourself. And there's also a couple of omissions as well. Now, it's currently being worked on by the developers, but the GCAM mod for the OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't support the ultra-wide-angle camera or the telephoto lens. It's just the main wide camera at the back. If you do want to see how ultra-wide video looks on the OnePlus 7 Pro, then go check out the link in the description and also appearing on the screen now. There's a little hack that you can do, and that enables the ultra-wide-angle video. It's experimental, it's not quite indicative of final quality, but if you want to give it a go and see what it's like, by all means go and check it out. And additionally, even though the settings menu for this particular GCAM mod does say video stabilization, it doesn't work for the front-facing camera, so I am using a gimbal at the moment to straighten things out. Trust me, you'll thank me for it later, because using it without is horribly shaky and doesn't look very usable at all. So the OnePlus 7 Pro uses a 16 megapixel front-facing camera. With the GCAM mod, it records video at up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, some of you may be using a different GCAM mod which does allow 4K support for the front-facing camera at 30 FPS. However, in my experience, it can be a little bit temperamental. Sometimes it doesn't record video at all, or sometimes it just crashes and then you have to restart the app. So let's take a look then. So the GCAM mod majors on HDR. I'll just take a look around. You let me know what you think. Does this look any better than the front-facing camera video on the standard stock built-in software on the OnePlus 7 Pro? Alright, so onto the rear camera then. And the OnePlus 7 Pro has a 48 megapixel sensor that uses pixel binning to downsize to 12 megapixels, and that's what we're recording in now. It's 1080p at 30 frames per second. So on a day like this, is a great chance to check out things like color reproduction and also exposure, white balance, etc. So it just looks straight into the sun and then back down. The phone should automatically adjust for exposure to give the best image possible. Pick a point, now we can pinch to zoom. Now obviously this is digital zoom, it's not optical like you get with the stock software. So that's as far as it can go. Just pull back just a bit, retain a bit more detail there, and then all the way out. That's obviously the best possible image. Look at the house in the distance. I mean, that isn't actually too bad. It is showing a bit of fuzziness around edges and fine detail, but if need be, you could use this if you really wanted to. Let's try some much smaller objects now and see if the focus works just as well. Yep, nice blurred background, good detail on the buttercup as well. And move up, that is crazy fast focus. That is really, really good. Just look at that, that is superb. Excellent stuff. It's got a really nice kind of depth of field, nice and gradual into the background there. Kind of a blurred foreground object. Detail on the subject, and then just blurring subtly into the background. Okay, so recording at 4K at 60 FPS now. And again, this is stabilized with a gimbal. And with 60 frames per second, you get a much more lifelike movement with objects. Just checking out focus here. Yep, works just as well. And hopefully you can see there, you do get a much more realistic sense of movement. It's nice and smooth. Now the 60 FPS 4K video using the stock camera software is really impressive, and some say it looks a little bit oversaturated maybe, but I do like the look of it. It does look really, really nice. It's got good bitrate as well, so I'm kind of hoping that the Google camera side of things will hopefully uphold that standard. Alright, so this is 1080p at 30 frames per second from the front facing camera using GCAM in low light. And again, I'm using a gimbal to stabilize this because the stabilization doesn't seem to work properly on this particular mod that I'm using. So plenty of light behind me, so I can see a lot of grain in the picture here, and I'm walking into a much darker area now where the street lighting appears to be broken. But the exposure, the auto exposure is doing a good job of keeping my face well exposed, I think. But you let me know what you think. Let's just take a look behind us at the Bay Area. So yeah, there is quite a lot of grain in image. But in all fairness, it's not that bad. Without any electronic image stabilization, it doesn't introduce any of the smearing or jello effects that you get with some handsets, but it's not looking too bad at all. Okay, so this is 4K at 30 frames per second, and again this is all being stabilized with a gimbal. This is just to give you an idea of how the footage looks, and the quality actually looks pretty good from where I'm standing. Again, with no electronic image stabilization to spoil it. You don't get any of those smearing effects as I walk along, because it's being stabilized with mechanical gear instead. I do think this is an improvement on the stock camera app video. It's looking really good. That is looking pretty good. Nice colour and good detail as well. Looking up into the sky, got a nice kind of rich colour, the blue hour as we call it. Alright, so finally then, 4K at 60 frames per second from the rear camera, again using a gimbal to stabilise. Now the exposure is darker using 60 frames per second. Kind of compare that to 30 frames per second that I was just using. You can see out in the distance there the exposure is a bit lower. And into this darker area here I can pretty much not see much at all. So yeah, not ideal. Certainly darker, but certainly not bad either. Alright, so that is the OnePlus 7 Pro GCAM mod then. Not quite perfect, however that can be easily rectified with an update. The guys who make these mods work extremely hard to bring us these camera mods in the first place, so I'm very grateful for the work that they do, as are many others. As I said, I will leave a link in the description so you can go and check out the GCAM mod for yourself. There are dozens available, so I will leave a link to the XDA forums as well, and you can basically see what mods are available for your handset. But you let me know what you think of the GCAM mod on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Is it a go or is it a no? And if you're new around here, then please consider subscribing so you don't miss more videos coming on the channel very soon. But for now, this has been my look at the GCAM mod on the OnePlus 7 Pro. My name's Mr. West, and I'll catch you guys later.